And we go live and we let everyone in right now.
Woo!
Where's admit all button? Is at the top.
It's just hidden now.
Yeah, too many people. Admit all. There we go. And we take the tasting and wow, there we go.
Look at this, with pages and pages and pages. Hello, Beck, Kelly, Trish, Linda.
Everyone's slowly coming in.
Louise, Margaret, Rhonda, Vanessa, Alice, Amanda, Ben Ferguson, Bron, Tom's iPad.
Wow.
Karina, Diz, Ellie, Emma, Georgie, Gary, Hamish. What an absolute tasting we have tonight, Jose. And have a look at these pages upon pages of awesome, amazing gin fans that are going to get the opportunity to try these really, really special gins.
Amazing.
So a lot of new faces, but also a lot of regular faces.
Regular faces.
Stop number 4. So South Australia, we've gone to Tassie, New South Wales, and
Victoria, and now big guns.
Big guns.
Big
South
guns.
Australia. And what an absolute cracking lineup of gins we have tonight. For those of you, if this is your first tasting you've done with us, or you're not too sure how these sort of things go, normally it's best as like a bit of housekeeping to have 3 or 4 glasses in front of you, or even the same amount of glasses of gins as we have.
Exactly.
And that way, if you finish one or you still got a little bit left, you don't have to run back to the sink and
wash
it up.
it.
You just keep going, and then
the rest is just sit down and enjoy the chat and the banter and the conversation with these great distillers.
And we'll explain everything, like what gin goes with what and which garnish and that sort of thing.
And if at any time anyone has a question or doesn't know what gin, just put it on the chat and we get to that.
We get to the distillers.
Yeah, and at the end of each distiller, you guys gonna have let me just change to this other camera here. Now we're in that one, and
straight down the barrel.
Yes. You guys are going to be able to ask questions to the distillers on the chat or to Trish about Fever-Tree, about how to match your gins. And
the rest will be history. I'm so excited. So let's introduce this awesome, really sensational panel we have tonight. Start off by welcoming the amazing Trish Brew from Fever-Tree, who's with us for all of these tastings and gives all of the amazing info on these amazing tonics, and also helps me put together the pairings with the tonics and the gins as well tonight. Trish, how are you?
I'm muted. Trish, let me just unmute you. Trish, there you go. I still unmute. Make a host. Yes.
See how we go.
There you go.
Trish.
Now we don't hear you.
Well, Trish is very good at sign language anyway, so maybe we'll give Trish a little bit of time to figure out the audio.
The microphone.
And then
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. You are going to be sick of hearing from me tonight, everybody. Don't worry. It's so good to see a lot of these amazing gin fanatics again tonight. I kind of feel like Friday night with Casa de Venus is my favorite because I get to hang out with all my friends, all my gin friends. So I'm so excited to put some delicious pairings together for you guys today.
This is the biggest one so far. If you look at the bottom, we are now up to 202. Amazing.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah. Thanks so much for being a part of it and making all of this happen. It's so great to have you on board. First up from the distiller side of things, let's introduce the guys at Prohibition. We've got, I'm not sure if it's Matt, where's Adam, who's there at the moment from Prohibition. They've got another tasting going on at the distillery tonight, so there's a bit going on. But Adam Carpenter, there we are.
Where's Adam? There you go, Adam. Spotlight, Adam. There you go.
Prohibition guys, how are we doing?
You're muted.
Another sign language.
Sign language. Let's see, Adam Carpenter. There we go. And co-host. There you go. Now you can unmute yourself.
Right, can you hear us?
Howdy, guys.
We're on.
Adam and Hugh here from Prohibition.
Pleasure to meet you all. We're really happy to be here. Beautiful Friday night in Adelaide.
Standing in front of us still, we've got Wes racing through. Matt's in the background here. And we've got about 50 people in our distillery. So I apologise for a little bit of background noise. It's a busy night here.
At least someone has a high vis, right?
Yeah, Someone's in Ivan's.
It's very important to remain safe around here.
Awesome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for joining. Yeah, we look forward to taste your gins and explain everything about your distillery, which we love. In a minute.
Absolutely.
Absolutely cracking one. Next up, we'll go to Never.
Sean Baxter.
Sean.
Hey guys, how are we doing?
So
I'm
good,
very
mate.
well. I'm very well. I've got a crazy. I'm actually in my house because I have a small child that's trying to sleep in the next room, so it could be very noisy in the background too. So you never know. We could end up having a really busy experience. So we'll find out how that goes later on.
Absolutely.
It's so good. I say 90% of these people are Victorians. We've been on home arrest with our kids, which I don't think there is a bigger pain than that. So no one will mind another child crying in the house. So yeah, John, thank you for joining, man.
My absolute pleasure. It's going to be a fun night. I'm looking forward to it.
Over to Applewood, and we've got the brand ambassador.
The Hammer.
With Victoria, South Wales, ATV. What doesn't he do?
The Hammer.
Stop at your big flirts. That's all. That's the first thing I have to say. Yeah, it's clear that I'm not the distiller, but Jake, who is our distiller, sends his best regards. He's currently half a bottle deep because he's with our owners in Adelaide currently at a wine tasting. So he couldn't be here, unfortunately, but I definitely can, and I'm really excited to go through this.
We had the pleasure to have you here. You're a person that's close to Casa de Vinos, been close for a long time.
Very
So
close.
thank you very much for joining, Henry. And yeah,
It's my
Look
pleasure.
forward-
My pleasure.
look forward to taste your gin and hear everything about the distillery. man.
Fingerline Gin is rare. Fingerline Gin.
215 people now. Wow, amazing.
It's going up and up. Over to Ambleside now. We've got Matt Dickinson.
Matt, there we go.
Down
Spotlight,
there,
Matt.
and distiller there at Ambleside. Matt, how are you, brother?
You can unmute yourself, I reckon. Yeah, there, Matt. Matt.
Testing one,
Yes.
two. Mate, co-host.
Why? No one is co-host now. Okay, there you go.
Drinking too much vino before the tasting.
Having too many vinos.
Uh,
There,
Matt,
Matt.
We go. You hear me?
Yes.
loud and clear, my man.
Awesome. Good. How is everyone?
Fantastic, my man. And
Awesome.
we're really looking forward to trying this big dry gin. And I've been having a little bit of a sip on this one as we've been packing the packs, and it's a pretty awesome gin. So
Yeah, the big dry gin with a little bit of kick. Sorry if there's a bit of background noise here as well. We've got a bit of a cocktail masterclass going on. So there's about a dozen people getting treated to some pretty tasty cocktails at the tasting bar.
South Australians are living it up right now. We're over here in Victoria, we're just lucky to be able to do a Zoom call.
Yeah, I know.
Yes,
It was
sorry to
having a
rub
party.
salt in the wound to everybody there.
Yes.
Well, Matt, cannot wait to try this gin and have a chat and talk about that awesome skill you've got going behind you there as well. That looks like a beast.
Yeah, got our little still there, so should be getting a bit of a facelift next year as well as our distillery as well. So pretty exciting times for 2021, hopefully.
Beauty. And we'll get back to that beautiful
Sure.
dry gin.
Yeah.
When we get to it, the Barossa Distilling Co. So we're going all across SA here today. We're not
Yes.
just focusing on one area. It's pretty
Let's
nice.
spotlight.
We've got a good
the boys there.
representation from everywhere.
How are you, Pete?
Hey guys, how are you going? I'm
Yeah,
Pete.
good man.
Hey guys,
What an amount of copper and stainless steel. What a beautiful sight.
thank you. We're pretty
How you guys
excited
doing, man?
forward to tonight.
Yeah, good. We're looking forward to taste your gins.
Looking forward to trying everyone's. It's gonna be pretty good night.
Yeah, I reckon.
Way to spend a Friday.
Perfect way to
spend a Friday night.
That's it.
Now should we kick off?
I reckon we just start pouring a
I
little
think
bit of these beautiful
everyone
things in our
wants
glasses.
to drink a bit,
What do you reckon,
man,
Jose?
so-
Let's do it. So if
How
you
do we
wanna-
start?
With the camera back to the
Us?
main screen.
Yeah, let's go.
And
That's us.
I'll
And
explain a little bit further, I guess. The way
We've got that one.
that we try gin, the way that we'll do it tonight. Pour a little bit in our glass, and then have a sniff, have a smell, have a little taste. Maybe have a little chat to the distiller as well, or the guys representing while we do that. And then we'll also, in about 5 minutes after that, put the tonic in with the garnish, and chat to Trish.
And we'll explain everything as we go. Which tonic goes with which gin. What we suggest normally is don't use too much tonic, just a little bit. Yeah. Then you taste it, and then you put a bit more if you want more tonic.
And the tonic pairings tonight are really interesting too. And also, I recommend if you have the opportunity and you do, is have a little bit of a try of a couple of tonics. And when we talk to Trish about them, she'll say a couple of different tonics that might go with the gin as well. So maybe at the start, just pour 15 mils in there, and then put one tonic in there, because maybe there's a couple of other good options we've got with mixing it as well. Without further ado, we're starting off tonight, ladies and gentlemen, with an absolute cracker, one of the
belter of a gin,
best gins of 2020, and this is the Prohibition 100-year anniversary gin. So I'm going to pour a little bit of that into my glass, Jose, and I trust you'll do the same.
Yes.
So this gin release has a homage to, I guess this is the 100th anniversary of the Prohibition, which
let me come in here and
tell us all about. And it's just an absolute cracking.
A beautiful ceramic bottle with gold printing in there,
really good.
which I do believe is real metallic gold, or it looks like real metallic gold. But we found out about the boys at Prohibition.
Thank you.
How are you, mate?
We are awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for having us,
Beautiful
guys.
night. Thanks for having us. So it's a nice celebration to be able to start with our 100-year anniversary gin. So celebrating since 1920, the 100 years since the start of Prohibition in the USA, which was the biggest booming gin uptake pretty much the world had ever seen. So we're paying homage to that with this gin. The beautiful ceramic bottle made in Staffordshire in England, made by the same ceramics manufacturer that makes all the nice ceramic ware for the Queen, gilded with a beautiful design which gives a bit of a nod to the glamour of Prohibition era and the speakeasies of the time, and also the bottom side of that design is all about the underground, the bootleggers, the organised criminals, the guns and bullets. So there's a bit of something there for everyone. Onto the spirit.
Well, we taste a little bit the gin. So people can taste the moment. Pour a little bit of gin on your glass, and yes, have a little sniff, and you can tell us the descriptors and tell us a little bit about the botanicals that you're using on this gin.
Absolutely. Hugh's here, and Hugh's going to take you through the botanical profile.
Howdy, guys. So I'm the head distiller here at Prohibition, and lucky enough to have to make this gin for you guys. So it's probably our luscious creation ever, and I think that was we were trying to really tap into the decadence of the 1920s, and you really get it on the mouth. You get it in the texture on the palate. It's rich. It's rounded. The kind of the crux of this gin is it had to reflect the decadence, and so it had to be really expensive. So we filled it with as much vanilla from Madagascar and authentic saffron and cardamom and sage and Riverland honey and rose petals, as you can imagine. And the proof is in the pudding why these things are greater than the sum of its parts.
And the late harvest Chardonnay grapes from Adelaide Hills.
Yeah, so post distillation, we got all these really amazing late harvest Chardonnay grapes from Petaluma, which is a really, really great winery up in the Adelaide Hills. Their Chardonnay is really, really famous. We got some late harvest grapes, which have more of a sugar content to earlier in the harvest. So really like rich, robust juice. If you guys ever get the opportunity to try Chardonnay grapes or Chardonnay juice, I really recommend it. So we have a basket press here, and we hand crushed all these grapes ourselves. It was a lot of work. It was very messy. It really is. And then we added that to our gin. So instead of distilling this flavor, we added it to the gin post distillation. So we just didn't lose any of that robustness, which is really important to us. Yep. Bottled at 45% from Barossa grape spirit, which is something that we're really lucky to have here in this part of the world. Very common to use grain-based spirit on the east coast of Australia, but we have such amazing wine here. That's as much of Australia, but it helps create a really unique South Australian product. I find grape spirit to be a little bit more floral than grain-based spirit typically.
Softer, a little smoother, so it's a great starting point for a neat drinking gin as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to give that a taste, you're going to get that beautiful spice component coming through, that beautiful mouthfeel that comes from those smoother elements in the gin.
A lot of
The
round,
texture is amazing.
a little bit of rose and sage, I think, are really lifted in it as well, and a little bit of honey. Distilled honey with beeswax gives it a little bit of richness and thickness as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
So if you want to go ahead and add a bit of tonic, we're partnering with the Fever Tree Aromatic for this particular gin. So Fever Tree Aromatic has a great flavour base. You need a slightly more robust gin for that to work. But what we've got is a beautiful combination of those two elements. So some really interesting botanicals coming through from that Fever Tree Aromatic. So just a splash of that in that gin. It doesn't need a lot. Feel free to add a little more as you taste, but I think you'll find you'll only need a small splash to open up that character of the gin. We're also going to put an ice cube in if you've got one.
So to show here, the pairing is aromatic tonic with the Prohibition.
Correct.
And the pear, the dehydrated pear.
And then we've got dehydrated pear. So the pear is going to bring out that beautiful poached pear flavour that's in the gin. So we poached local, what style of pear was it?
Rosella pear.
Rosella pear, a local Rosella pear.
We poached them during distillation, and as you know, the texture of pear is, I think, one of the best bits about eating a pear. We wanted to really carry that across. A lot of vanilla in the tonic, and a lot of vanilla in the gin pairs up really well as well. Forgive the pun on the pair of pears. And also the colour, I believe, comes from Angostura bark, which is famously Angostura bitters.
Let me just interrupt you 1 second. Trish, how are you, darling?
Trish, far away.
Let me interrupt you just a minute. Trish. Here she is. Let's spotlight Trish.
Who better to talk about the tonic than Trish?
Yes, about I wanted Trish to talk a little bit about the tonic and the pairing that we're doing.
Absolutely. Firstly, I was so excited to try this gin because what I've always loved about Prohibition gins is their really depth of spice element. And I knew before even tasting this that it was going to go really well with the aromatic tonic. Now, to tell you a bit more of that background, and absolutely right. Now, it does kind of stem the idea of the aromatic from Angostura bitters, which was actually an anti-nausea medicine for sailors originally, and it had a very high spice component. But we use Angostura bark ourselves, but the similarities that are in the gin and the tonic, which I find can compare, we use green cardamom, so there's one, but we also use a lot of vanilla as well, and we use Madagascan vanilla too. But just to tell you a really fun fact about Madagascan vanilla, now Madagascan vanilla is not native to Madagascar, it is actually native to Mexico, and it needs a particular type of bee called a melipena bee, which is not found anywhere else. So what you have to do is people have to pollinate the flowers themselves to make the pods. And it's quite a lengthy experience. And both Prohibition and Fever Tree are very lucky we can get vanilla, Madagascan vanilla, because it's highly sought after. But, you know, the big confectionery brands of the world actually could buy up all of it that is ever produced. So we're very lucky for what we both share, but we think, yeah, it's a very nice vanilla, and the guys are right, it's very warming, it goes perfectly with the gin, and yeah, exactly like our slogan is 3/4 of your drink is the mixer. And you know what, most people drink that way. However, we're gin aficionados, so I agree, start with a little bit because you can always add, but you cannot take it out.
I agree.
Absolutely.
And we were
Absolutely
talking
agree with that.
before this tasting about how there's a couple of these gins that go well with a few of the different tonics, right? So
Exactly.
I think it's a fun opportunity for everyone to play around and find a pairing that you really like as well, because a lot of these gins actually in many ways share similarities botanical profile wise. So
yeah,
it's going to be a fun sort of fun tasting.
And also what we always ponder here, because we our retail store is all about products that are good in quality, and what we normally say is people spending money on the gin, but sometimes not doing the same thing with the tonic, and they don't understand. Sometimes if you're really saving for a bottle that you really want and you're spending the money with your gin, you should actually try a premium tonic, because otherwise it's sometimes they don't express themselves so good with just your regular supermarket tonic, this pure sugar, you know.
Absolutely.
Correct. So that gin and tonic's working beautifully with that poached pear. The other way we would often serve this particular gin is with a bit of lemon peel and a sage leaf. Both of those ingredients are also in the gin. So anything that's in that gin is going to draw out beautifully. But that pear's working really nicely tonight.
I've really enjoyed this. Yeah. Really, really
So,
tasty.
Matt, can you tell us a little bit about this gin is sensational. I've already got messages flowing through.
Yep.
Just from Paul Peller's messaging in, so this might be one of the biggest cracking gins that I've tasted. He's in the chat tonight.
Yeah.
For those of you, and I'm one of them, I unfortunately haven't been able to get to Prohibition Distillery yet. You're right in the thick of things in Adelaide, in the city. Can we get a little bit of an idea of your distillery, how long you guys have been there, and
your capacity, visitor center, everything.
And you just won best gin bottle design in Australian Gin Awards of 2020, and that's pretty obvious why, because your products, everything that comes out, might be some of the sexiest bottles going around.
Thank you. So look, I'm Adam, one of the founders. My background is in graphic design, so it's probably no accident that design is so part and parcel with everything we do around here. We started this business, Wes and myself, who you saw flashing through in the high vis earlier, in my backyard, as all good businesses do. So we made about 12,000 bottles of gin from our little inner suburban garage in Adelaide. And then it was time to grow up and move out of home. Also, my wife told me to get this operation out of the backyard. That also helped. So we then set up here in the CBD. So we're the only full functioning visible distillery in the CBD in Adelaide. And we started with a site of about 300 square metres. We've since grown to 800 square metres and fast filling that up as well. But what we do here is a bit of an immersive educational experience with visitors. So as of tonight, COVID restrictions are still keeping us at about 50% capacity, but we are literally to the person at that capacity. We've got a masterclass happening right in front of me, the other side of the camera here, and we've got the whole venue full of people enjoying their gin experience. So everything that we make from our site here. Mary, our still is right behind us, a 900-litre pot still. Everything that we make, Hugh has his hot little hands on, and we do take design very seriously. We take flavour very, very seriously, and we really focus on a neat drinking experience. Which
I got a question for you. that I make to most of the students. Yeah, you're not allowed to say juniper. What is your favorite botanical, one that you recurrently guard? And
that is a ripper question.
Great question.
It's like choosing between children. We all know, it's difficult, but it can be done. No, I'm joking about that.
We do love vanilla. I would actually say we haven't made a gin yet that doesn't feature vanilla.
I think that might be true. I'm really into finger limes at the moment. We're making some Navy strength gin behind us at the moment that's chock full of finger limes, and I'm very excited to tuck into Applewoods tonight and to see that.
Absolutely. Australian natives, lemon myrtle, we absolutely love. Definitely the finger lime. We've been working with Old Man Saltbush just recently, which is wonderful, also in that Navy strength gin. And yes, that was the gin that won Best Design in Australia for a gin package on Monday, which was wonderful. As the designer, it's always nice to...
One last question.
Yeah.
So you guys have... I love the way you do releases. You've got the Blood Orange gin, which I know has just come out, and some other gins like your Bathtub gin, which is one of my favourite gins. 69% ABV, probably one of the highest ABVs in the Southern Hemisphere. I don't know the exact.
The highest, actually, yeah.
I want to ask you guys about what's coming in the future. What are you guys excited about? You've got this 100-year anniversary gin, which we're trying tonight, and it's probably one of the best gins I've tried in a long time. And this bathtub gin I love. What are you guys working on? What's exciting? What's the next year or so look like for Prohibition?
So at the moment, we're producing our Christmas gin, which is pretty exciting. So our beautiful 100 years gin in a ceramic bottle, we have another custom bottle coming to you guys, or we might have a little sneak peek of it. A little sneak peek.
We have one
Oh, wow.
prototype out of the UK, so this is a proper sneak peek because usually I think about 5 people have seen this one now. So this is going to be this year's Christmas. So we've gone from a black Christmas bottle to a beautiful white Christmas bottle this year. And
Wow, that's amazing.
a whole bunch of those on the water from the UK at the moment, and macerating that beautiful spirit.
Yeah, so we've got it's figs and cherries and cloves and nutmegs and all those beautiful Christmas spices that, I don't know, there's an element of nostalgia in drinking it. I really think it's a really special product.
But we do have a whole bunch of top secret things on the way. And yeah, I can't even start mentioning those because they are literally quite different and quite interesting things that we're really excited about. So it is a bit like a mad professor's science lab just the other side of our next wall here. There's always something going on. But yeah, Christmas gin is definitely the one we're working on currently, but we've got some exciting and really interesting things coming forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Watch this space. It'll not sign up. Yeah, cool.
We can't wait to see what's going on. And that Christmas gin, that bottle is just absolutely stunning. And I can't wait to see what you guys do with it. We're going to actually be doing a Christmas gin tasting in about November. So maybe if you guys want to be, we would love to have
We'd love to have you
and
guys.
try that.
We'd love that.
That with bells on, pardon the pun.
Love it. Well, Prohibition.
Thank you so much, boys.
To all you guys there, and it sounds like you've got an absolute party
Awesome,
going.
guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
If you're
Appreciate spending time with us.
For the next ones, and
if anyone's still happy to stay on, stay on.
Yeah.
And if anyone's got any questions, feel free to shoot to those guys. But I know you guys are busy, so do as you got to do. But thank you so much for letting us try this.
Amazing,
Thanks
gin.
for having us. Great. Glad you enjoyed it.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
That is awesome. This gin and the herbaceous nature of it on
The structure is just so luscious.
It's got like this oiliness to it as well, and this awesome fruitiness developing. Hugh's got a really, really
big
good
palate, huh? Like
good palate.
rich, big
He
length.
knows what he's doing. I'm
Yes.
super impressed by this one. Next up, let's do it. And as we say, when we go through this, if you've still got a little bit in your glass, grab another glass. Don't
tip it away.
You don't need to tip it away, or save a little bit for the end. Do whatever. But we'll move through them at about this pace, and the rest will be history.
Yes.
Next up, we're going to go with another one. I mean, these are all absolutely cracking gins tonight. But this is another really super limited one, and one that I know a lot of people have been really looking forward to.
Another world first too, I reckon.
Doing a tasting like
No,
this.
with Grenache.
With the Grenache, that's it.
Yes.
So the first
We're
one,
going to
the next
Sean
one
Baxter.
we're going to do is the
Hey guys,
Never
how we doing?
Dark Series gin with their Grenache grapes. How are you, Sean?
Very well, mates. Very well. It's a pleasure to be here. And to be honest, I haven't actually had a chance to try some of this in ages. So we sold out of it last week. So it's good to be able to get a chance to taste it again.
We bought it all. Yeah. We feel very humbled that you let us have a very, very decent allocation of it.
Yeah.
You guys are a very new distillery that done very, very well through
in a short space of time.
In a short space of time with experimental research and really delivering, let's say, state-of-the-art products.
Yeah.
Well,
about your background, your partner's backgrounds, the distillery, how long you've been there, and then
yeah, sure. So like, I'll actually just this is where we started. We started off in a shed in Royal Park, which is quite an industrial part of Adelaide out in the west. We had 16 square meters. 16 square meters is small. That is basically our distillery. There wasn't really anything else. That was kind of just it. So we worked there from 2017 until halfway through 2018, until we actually got the pleasure of being able to step up into Chalk Hill. And Chalk Hill has been an amazing sort of part of our brand. It's always been on the front of our label, which is pretty funny. If you look at a bottle of our traditional, you'll always see that there's actually, if I can get it to look, there you go.
Yes,
You can see that there's actually a hill line in it, and the hill line is actually the hill line behind it. We never had any intention of making it actually match up, but it kind of did.
I put the photo here, and you get the hill just down here on top of Never Never.
We never were in McLaren Vale. We were in Royal Park, and we put the McLaren Vale image on the bottle because we always wanted the goal of being in that region. We think it's an incredible space. We love inviting people from all parts of Australia. Eventually, right now, it's pretty much all of the locals in the area that are coming up and getting to witness these amazing views and this amazing space. We've been very, very lucky to be invited up to this area, and like any of the viewers that have had a chance to sort of come down and visit us, or anyone who does want to come down and visit us.
You've got a very good cellar door there.
It's pretty spectacular. Yeah, we were very lucky. We
were
invited up there,
I think.
Yeah, we were invited up there by Chalk Hill, which is part of the reason why we wanted to create this particular product. This is our tasting room inside. So again, once you come in, you get an opportunity to try all of our different products. We always try and create a pretty amazing experience for guests that do find their way down here. And when it comes to Chalk Hill, the wine that's produced on site is spectacular, and the grapes that are produced on site are award-winning as well. And that's why we wanted to make a gin with them.
So that goes back to the Grenache, right? With the grapes. Barossa is known for the Shiraz, of course, but mostly Grenache. McLaren Vale. Also, the style is known for the Shiraz, but mostly it's Grenache. What a lot of people don't know is probably would have the oldest vines in the world. They are Grenache.
That's correct. Yeah, Grenache is a huge part of Australian history. Grenache came over with some of the very first cuttings. It was used a lot in church wine. It was used a lot in early fortified wines. It was very flexible and a very hearty style. So it would grow in lots of different conditions. So when it came to celebrating, I guess, the region, we wanted to pick something that was very, very special. And we love the flexibility of it. It creates everything from really bright, fresh, poppy rosés all the way through to dark, classic varietal Grenache style. So for us, it was just a no-brainer that we needed to do something with this and do something with Chalk Hill, who, in Halliday's most recent reports, Chalk Hill have done such an amazing job of creating such incredible styles of wine. So we really wanted to celebrate that region.
Yeah, and I think that this gin category is going to become quite prominent, and maybe a new category that Australia can sort of own. Obviously, Four Pillars probably a big pioneer with their Shiraz gin.
Yeah.
This Grenache, what I love about it is how much homage it pays to the grape, while also being an absolutely sensational representative of a gin as well.
And a slight sweet attack, but then becomes dry.
So I think it's the triple juniper gin that they use with it, and then I don't know the steeping process or however, Sean. Maybe you want to tell us a little bit about?
I'll tell you before I go into it. I did actually want to say something about Four Pillars, because a lot of people ask me why Australian gin goes so well and why it's crushing it all over the world in various awards. I'm sure everyone's sick of hearing the amount of awards that are being won by Australian distilleries, and it has a lot to do with the absolute open book sort of standard that people like Cam McKenzie run when it comes to the way that they celebrate and allow smaller distilleries such as us the opportunity to learn from them. There isn't this bullshit of absolutely kind of protecting industry secret. Cam, our head distiller Tim, gave Cam a call when it came to sort of some of the issues that we're having with this gin, and he was the first person to tell us, where we needed to go right, where we needed to go, what we were doing wrong in some instances. So it was amazing to sort of see the way that big brands like Four Pillars look after little guys like us as well.
I think gin is the category that revitalized the whole spirits industry in Australia. Of course, we can say that maybe whiskey started before, but the gin was the one that's today the really the big explosion.
What Sean's speaking to is it's so relevant and true. Whiskey, and you can vouch for this, Jose. There's a lot of secrecy that goes on behind that, and the gin seems to be this beautiful thing where there's a lot of transparency through the community, and a lot of.
But also there's a lot more. There is in whiskey there's probably a little bit more secrecy on certain things, but on gin the recipes are the biggest asset of any distillery. But there's a lot of R&D on the back. In the whiskey, there's not so much R&D as probably there is on gin. Let's put a
little bit of tonic with this, and then we'll jump to Trish, and then we'll jump back over to
Well, let me just tell a little bit about how we make it very quickly. Whilst before you hit it with any tonic, we do like to sort of make sure everyone samples it neat, because it is quite a decadent gin style. The way it's made is that we use our base of triple juniper gin. Now, normally when you produce triple juniper gin, it comes off the still at around about 80 ABV. So it's quite high when it comes off the still. You then add water to it to dilute it down to 43%. Now, when it comes to Grenache, what we did instead of using water, we actually used, as you can see behind me, we collected 1 ton of Grenache grapes from the Slate Creek vineyard, which is part of Chalk Hill.
We can see the grapes there.
We basically destemmed them and crushed them, and then we use that liquid to dilute that high proof spirit down. Okay, so rather than using water, we actually use Grenache fruit, and we use that juice. So it created this very luscious and very intense flavored gin. We then allowed that gin to sit on skin for around a month. So what actually happens is you end up taking on all those sugars and all that color and all that flavor. So what you've got in the glass, even though it is quite sweet, all of that flavor does come naturally from the grapes. And all of those, I guess, colors that you can see is from those grape skins as well. So it will naturally sort of change in the bottle. When it started off, it was quite bright and raspberry, almost watermelon-esque. And now, as you can see, it's sort of darkened up a little bit. So it kind of started off like a rosé, and it's finishing off like a true Grenache now. So it's quite different. I do like it with Mediterranean tonic, but only equal parts. So I know Trish is all about 3 to 4. I think that this particular one doesn't work as well with too much bitterness. So again, equal parts works really well for me.
Yeah, this could even have the dessert.
It's got that dessertiness about it, but I think it's a cracking gin in the way that it's in a little category of its own.
I love it.
For me, often wine steeped gins like this can be very, very desserty or very bitter, but this is so well balanced.
This is
almost
amazing.
like a glass of Grenache with a little dash of gin in it.
I could even glaze my leg ham for Christmas. Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe for the Christmas gin tasting, we can glaze a little bit of ham, send that out in the pack.
Send that out in the bag, dehydrated.
Good thinking. The garnish for this one, we're going to go with is the orange. So you should have some sort of orange there, be it this is a navel orange that we left over. And there's also a couple of blood oranges we sent out as well.
Yes.
So whatever your round, circular, citrusy looking thing like that is, that's the one that
the orange.
And the tonic, as Sean alluded to,
is the Mediterranean.
This one that's exactly right, the Mediterranean. And Jose will open that one up there. And then
Mediterranean tonic. First we try with a little bit, and then we might go what Sean says, equal parts.
Literally I'll probably
just a little splash.
Put a splash in there, see how we go. Let's go over to Trish and see what she thinks about this gin, because obviously, as well as Trish being the tonic connoisseur, she knows more about gin than anyone else that I've
Trish, you know also Sean for a long time.
Might have to do some dribble acting.
I gotta change this. No, where is Trish?
There she
is. I see her. There you go.
Hello again. And that's absolutely right. And now I'm flattered by that, John. Thank you so much. I am a bit of a gin fan, as most of you already know. But I have known Sean for a really long time, and I absolutely love Never Never. It is just a delicious gin all round. I've been lucky enough to go to the distillery, and I would recommend that experience to anybody. It is absolutely incredible. The view, oh my gosh, you could just stay there forever. But the juice is really good, which is important. And so the Ginache gin for me, I was so excited to try. And I'm not a huge wine person either, but I am a little bit partial to a bit of Shiraz gin here and there. But I really, really, really love the Ginache. And, you know, I might get in trouble from Fevertree for this, but I agree. I really think that to let the gin shine, you put a modest amount in. And like I always say, you can add, but you cannot take it out. And the reason why I think that the Mediterranean kind of enlivens and lifts this gin to kind of bring out those early flavors that Sean mentioned in the steeping process, you know, like those light, bright fruits, is because we use really delicate Mediterranean botanicals like lemon thyme, rosemary, and we dry out the lemon thyme on by smoking some geranium leaf, and geranium leaf is really akin to rose, and I think it really draws out some of the delicate flavors that you might find in the grapes, and with orange is just spectacular. So I love
this is an every every occasion gin, pretty much. This could be just a
Sunday afternoon
session, backyard barbecue, session gin. Or this could be an easy, just
a little quiet when you come home from work, you've had a long day.
Or a neat after dinner, neat before going to bed, you know, a nightcap.
It's got versatility.
This is amazing.
What a nice versatility.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, I hope it's not an everyday gin because we've got bugger all of it left. But you know, again, it's great to sort of see it on shelf around the country. Hopefully, you guys have got some left and you can actually sell it to people because we've got none.
We've got a couple up our sleeves. We bought as much as we could, let's say, because we wanted to do it for this tasting, because when we tried it, we absolutely fell in love with it. And that means that we had a couple of bottles left over. So if anyone does want to get a bottle, there's a few available on the website. And there's also a code for tonight. Jose, you love your codes.
A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people say new the first time they've been here. So to support everyone that joins on the tastings, we do a code where we give 10% off of the whole website just for tonight. And actually, it works until tomorrow midday. Do not email after tomorrow midday. It will not work.
Send them an email.
No, it won't work. And the code for tonight is Juniper. Anything you purchase on the website and these gins you get, and it just only works for tonight, and it is to support all you guys that have been with us for all these tastings. Okay, there is a very little amount of never.
What's the code, Jose, for tonight?
Juniper.
And this never. There's one less because I'm taking this one home with me tonight.
Yeah, cheeky. Awesome. Rosie, I can see you said limited editions make me sad, mate. It does for me too. That's why we're bringing it out again next year. So it's only going to be in the dark series for this season. Next vintage, we're going to be bringing it out as its own core gin. So it'll actually join the Southern Strength, the Triple.
Next time you mentioned this dark series means there's something coming. What is the next dark series? What's in the works, John? What's
the dark series is so much fun. The dark series is just where we have a ball. You know, like I've stepped from working in bars, and working in bars, you could always play with cocktail ingredients. You could always create new drinks, and I guess the dark series is that kind of representation. We wanted to always work with our mates, have some fun. And I guess when it comes to the dark series range, it allows us to be a little bit cheeky. We can kind of test ingredients. We can kind of make sure that particular products work. You know, everybody on the call right now from different distilleries doesn't have the capacity to be able to test gins across multiple years to check whether or not they're popular or not, or check it for fallout of color or all these things. So when you do limited editions, it allows you to sort of trial these particular flavors and see what resonates with an audience. And Ginache definitely resonated with the audience. We didn't realize we should have made more. We didn't think we only made 2,500 bottles, so that's not a lot, you know. Like we basically bought a ton of grapes, and it was supposed to be a little on-site collaboration with Chalk Hill. And then the distillery shut after 4 weeks, which was devastating. But at the same time, we launched this online. Max Allen from Gourmet Traveller called it out as one of his favourite sort of, I guess, fruit style gins in a Gourmet Traveller article, and it pretty much caught fire and sold out the week later. So it was pretty cool. Like during a period of time where we were really stressed about cash flow, it was an amazing thing to have happen to us. So we're looking forward to next vintage. We're already securing enough grapes to be able to do quite a significant amount more, and you know, play around with some really interesting and exciting flavors.
Amazing, Sean. We have this one here now.
So this gin is an absolute cracker. I'm and in love with this gin. I've got one down my shirt, which is going home with me. And Jose's linked in the chat. We've got a handful of them left. And if it's coming out again next year, awesome.
Hello.
So that makes this first edition even more collectible.
And you know what? I reckon this is kind of also what is marketing and acquiring products.
Yeah.
Even people that might not like gin or enjoy gin might get a good entry to the category with a product like this.
And it's one of those really good things about gin, because you have the ability to do that. You can't do that in whiskey.
You can't
do that in a lot of other spirits. So it's a good thing that gin has.
It's a great thing. I reckon liqueur lovers.
Yeah, for sure. Sean, thanks so much, my man, and we'll jump back to you at the end. I hope you're still there and enjoying those gins. But if you can go and you need to spend time with your young child. And
thanks for your hefty allocation for us.
I've got at least like 7 standard drinks in front of me, so I can guarantee you right now, I'm just going to probably stay here. I think that's probably appropriate.
Stay here, pass on the iPad to the child. No one's going to be judged about this, you know.
Wish the whole one of those.
Yeah.
Next up, we are going to Applewood. We're heading to Henry. We're trying this magnificent Fingerline Gin.
The hammer.
Hey guys.
I limited 1,000 gins, so only 1,000 of these beautiful Applewood Fingerline gins. We're going to pour a little bit in our glass, so you've got your Applewood Fingerline there. Let's pour some in, and we're going to have a little nose to play around with that. Henry, before we put it in tonic and we do that sort of beers, can you tell us a little bit about Applewood?
Let me introduce Henry a little bit. Let me introduce Henry a little bit. Henry used to work at the store, and he got poached by Applewood actually. And this is great.
This is some kind of personal vendetta. Then you brought me back
to like
nail me back down. I see what's going on, man.
I have this one on the pocket for 6 months now. It's so good, Henry. I love you. I love you and your porn star mustache.
Oh man. You had to
I love you to tears. Henry is one of the most technical bartenders I've met in my life. An amazing bartender.
You cut me down to build me back up. I see what's going on.
I don't like to say the word anal, but like very, very fiddly on your concoctions, and you always done that. And I love that you're working for such a great distillery.
And such a fiddly distillery as well.
Yes.
Like,
I know you guys. Everything you do is excellent, at least, right?
Thanks.
Tell us a little bit about this gin, Applewood.
Sure.
You know, thank you for joining, man.
Dude, no worries. Thank you for having me. And might I just say, both of the gins I've had so far are incredible. I've been absolutely loving both the Prohibition and the Never Never Dark series. They're off the chain. And so it's kind of cool that we've jumped to Fingerline because as one of our commenters said before, ooh, I love Fingerline. Here we go. This is our Fingerline gin. So this is one of our limited edition series. And we've been doing limited edition bottlings almost since the inception of Applewood, which was just over 5 years ago. So the two owners are Brendan and Laura Carter. They're a really great husband-wife team that are winemakers. So they actually went to wine school and wanted to set up a vineyard in the Adelaide Hills. And instead they did that, but then they also set up a gin distillery as well, but from a winemaker's perspective. So whenever we're distilling gin, we always enter into it from a very fastidious, let's say, I suppose, attitude of winemaking. We want to know exactly where we're getting our produce from. We want it to be reflective of the land that we belong to. And we definitely talk about terroir a lot when it comes to our gin in particular. So this Fingerline Gin, as I said, was part of a limited edition series, and we release around 12 limited edition gins a year. It's almost one per month. And we don't batch distill. So we don't distill our juniper run and then do a finger lime run and then do a desert lime run. What we actually do is we do a test on a 100 litre still. And then Jake, our distiller, kind of like has a taste, sees what's missing, and then goes like, cool, we're just going to send it. And then rejigs the recipe a little bit, puts it in a 1,000 litre still, and then comes up with things like this. So the Fingerline Gin that you have in front of you, obviously we use a absolute crap ton of finger lime in this, alongside a whole heap of juniper and Kaffir lime leaf as kind of a secondary botanical there, and then some basil leaf. But the thing that really ties this together and makes it quite a savory gin is we've actually taken a good amount of seawater. We've then both boiled it and filtered it. We've done a large amount of filtration on it, of course. And we've actually cut it with some seawater as well.
Henry, let me just interrupt you for a minute. And,
yeah, go ahead.
Let me just move to, we're on camera. There's too many
pages.
Too many pages. Can you tell us a little bit about the descriptors and get everyone to pour a little bit? And
so
like we have a little bit.
Like a little bit of the gin in the glass, which I'm sure it has. Tell us about the descriptors, the profile, and everything like that. Then, Henry, also, if you can tell us about the garnish, and we'll back that in while we're talking to you, and then when we get to the tonic, we'll flip back over.
Yeah, please. So like in terms of the things that I definitely pick up, brininess, like off the top, is the thing that I really get. I don't ever think that in most applewood gins, except for Navy, I don't think any of them are really juniper heavy in the traditional sense of the term. I fundamentally don't believe that we make a London dry style gin at all. What we try to do is we try to make an Australian gin. And this particular gin itself is extraordinarily savory, very demure, very austere as well. So again, when you're adding a little bit of tonic, I mean, I think you can always, as Trish says, just send it, give it a good 3-to-1. I think it'll do very, very well, especially with the tonic that she's paired with it, masterfully, of course. But the Kaffir lime leaf is the thing that really hits me as well. So you get this gardenial element, which often in finger lime we gloss over, because finger lime, whenever we have it, it's usually these like little tiny taste and flavor explosions of citrus, and then we get that lovely minerality. And we wanted to emphasize more of that minerality that is so endemic to Australia in a lot of its botanicals. Now, in terms of talking about Australian native botanicals, which we're extraordinarily passionate about, the garnish that you have is a lemon myrtle leaf. Now, a lot of you will be familiar with lemon myrtle in terms of soap. Sometimes people put it on goat's cheese.
Everyone will have a little bit of a lemon myrtle,
a little
half of lemon myrtle. Henry, drop us some organic lemon myrtle leaves.
I guess it's probably mostly organic lemon myrtle, I hope.
Yeah, it's like bush.
Yeah.
But no. This was actually amazing. The bag smell amazing.
Big old bag of lemon myrtle like this.
Yeah, it's wild when you get it fresh. It's unbelievable. This is from Peppermint Ridge Farm up in Tynong in Victoria. So we locally source this from Julie, who lives up there. She's an absolute champion of a woman, and they have a huge plantation of native Australian fruits and vegetables. They also run a whole bunch of cooking classes as well. So when things do open up there, you can stay on property and you can learn to cook things like kakadu plum. You can learn to like mess around with things like lemon myrtle or aniseed myrtle. Some really, really cool and interesting botanicals that we are so lucky to have in Australia, because we have a almost 80 million year history of flora in this country, which is really exciting. And so we're kind of like, why wouldn't we use that? Because we're trying to create something that's truly and uniquely Australian. Good thing and a good way to use this, you have to treat it like it's been a bit naughty and give it a bit of a spank. So I usually will spank my lemon myrtle before I put it into my tonic. which I'm going to do right now. And speaking of tonic, what are we doing? What are we doing in terms of tonic? That's what I don't know.
That spank was very natural, Henry.
Thank you. I've been working on it a lot recently.
Naturally like tonic.
All right. So
can I just say, and as we put this the Leonard Myrtle in, it's a really good opportunity to have a nose of it again.
Yeah.
With the Leonard Myrtle in there, and we might have put a little bit of the tonic in now. That's fine, but with just the Leonard Myrtle in it, absolutely brings out a lot more of that citrusiness in the gin and in the finger line for me.
It's amazing how a tree can smell like citrus, right?
I remember when Henry dropped those off, I was pulling them apart, and I was like knocking on Jose's office. I was like, have a whiff of this, mate. It actually smells pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how those little leaves can impart such an awesome flavour, and slapping it does the trick. Trish, this tonic and this pairing, gone with the Fever Tree light tonic, which I think is an absolutely inspired choice pairing wise. What do you think about this gin and this pairing? Talk to us about it.
There you go. I hear you.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay, good. Firstly, I think it's really odd for Henry to be interviewed by someone, because there's a lot of gin fanatics on here who have seen him many times, absolutely slaying it with Applewood, and he interviews so many people, and I just love watching it because he can absolutely talk through any awkward situation, and I really respect that.
I can certify that Henry can talk himself out of any awkward situation.
No, I love it.
That's
yeah. He's done like what, 100 episodes, 1,000 episodes. He's just insane, that guy. But I love this gin, and Henry was nice enough to drop me off some, so I've already been privy to how delicious this gin is, and it is bursting with flavour. I love the zestiness of this gin, and it would be just really obvious to go with Mediterranean tonic here, but we went with the naturally light tonic. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about what that is. It is essentially our Indian tonic, but the only thing that changes is the sugar. But I'll tell you a little bit about first what goes into our Indian tonic. Now, it is always going to be a more bitter style because it pays homage to when it was a medicine. In British colonial India, troops used to be given a daily ration of tonic. And the bitterness comes from the bark of the cinchona tree. And we get ours from the best plantation left. And so it's quite bitter. And so you might find that off the bat. But I think that bitterness goes well with that sort of pithiness that you get from the native finger limes. So absolutely harmonious. We also use Mexican bitter oranges, marigold, and coriander. And so if that doesn't sound like it goes with gin, then I don't know what you're doing. But the sugar that we use that changes this from Indian, and the flavor is really different. I recommend you try it with both the Indian Mediterranean and light if you have some left. But we use fructose sugar, fruit sugar, which is essentially, you can use 40% less of it and still get the same result. But for me, it doesn't carry the weight that sugar normally has. So it is good on your lips and your hips, but it also lets those oils really fly off the front palate. And that's why I think this works so well together. But I'm so excited to see in the comments what you guys think. I know you guys are talking about spanking your...
Yeah, spanking leaves. There's a lot of chat about spanking leaves at the moment.
Spank it, baby.
Do it. It's the way. And like someone definitely asked, why do you spank the leaf and not do something else or tear it or do something like that? Because spanking it actually lightly releases the oils across as much surface area as possible. That's the scientific reason. So that when you place it into the glass, you get as much aromat as you possibly can. So that's why I spank all my leaves.
Yeah. That is a fact that spanking releases a lot of things.
That's it. Can we go to this one?
We go to the other camera right now.
So this gin, and I'm an absolute lover of finger lime gin as well. I think Porfila's Navy Strength gin is like one of my favorite gins. And they pack it full of finger lime. And now finger lime we're seeing so prevalent in a lot of Australian gins. It's awesome to see how widely it's used. Henry, can you tell us a little bit about, in terms of Applewood, you guys are doing some crazy stuff gin-wise, and the way you release things with your coral gins and all of that sort of stuff. Tell us a little bit about the mentality of how you guys look at the production side of things in terms of what you want to do, and then
it's also the
what's next,
cutest bottles
Yeah.
you see ever.
So what's
right?
what are we looking for in, like, even we're getting to the end of 2020, 2021? What sort of stuff can we expect to see from Apple?
What can you tell us that no one else would know? Tell us your
I could tell you a lot that no one else knows about what we have planned for Applewood. You can definitely expect more native Australian botanicals. Like we are going on this odyssey of highlighting native Australian fruits and flora. And the simple reason for that is by us highlighting it in an industry and as an industry, and a lot of other distillers do it already. I'm not going to be, stupid enough to say that not everyone else is doing it as well. But by us monetizing things like finger limes, things like Kwandong, things like lemon myrtle, we actually help out an industry around us, and we incentivize in an agriculture sense people to put it in the ground in the first place. And not only do these things flourish in things like drought, they also flourish freaking everywhere because they're actually used to Australian soil, which is really old. That's like another hour-and-a-half long podcast that we could go on talking about the agriculture in Australia.
Yeah.
In terms of what we have planned, it's going to be a lot more native Australian gins, definitely. We might have another spirit that isn't gin coming out. I don't know what that might be. And we might have another core range
got a
products.
sneak peek today.
I don't know
allowed
what
to
you're
tell.
talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. But we might have another core range gin coming out. We have some more stuff in the pipeline as well. But we're continuously creating, and we drop nearly a gin a month. So
I think this would be an awesome time for you to sprue, Henry, because a lot of these guys here are such amazing gin fans, and we've seen such an awesome support and created this awesome group of gin people, gin lovers that are interested in learning so much more about gin, but maybe other spirits as well. In terms of this bottle, it's completely sold out. I think we might have one or two left on the website. So
Honestly, there is maybe
I'm not even worried about really
3
selling this gin. But in terms of what you've got going on, Henry, in terms of your podcast, which I've been on and had a lot of fun. Tell them a little bit about your live stream and when you do it, so people can tune in and get involved.
Sure. We live stream on the Applewood Distillery Facebook page 3 times a week. So on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. That end time is very, very loose at the moment. Like we've been having 1.5 hour, 2.5 hour odyssey chats about different things. But usually we'll have a theme. We'll talk about something in particular. On Monday, we're actually talking about non-alcoholics, which seems so weird. But there's a lot of craft that actually goes into making something with 0 alcohol. So we'll be talking about that on Monday. So if you want to join us then, we always have a good chat about gin. We always have a good chat about cocktails as well. So you're always going to learn something, that's for sure. Even I learn things. I learn so much by doing it as well. So it's really good for me.
From you as well, and watching you, Henry.
Mate, I learned stuff from you too on that Navy Strength podcast. That was awesome.
What a time.
What a time.
I was about to crucifix you when I saw the repeat. But
Mate, I didn't know you looked so good in a hat. That's the thing I learned.
I love hats.
You
You know I love hats.
To be real about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Henry, thank you so much. And I think that as gin fans, which all these guys are, it's Applewood is a distillery, to just, if they release a gin, to just not really hesitate, because everything they do is really bloody interesting. And it's almost educational, and you get to train your palate.
And also keeps the spirit alive. Basically, they innovate as they release, and they make things fun. Today, the gin drinker wants a very dynamic product. So they want to taste new things. They don't care about a full bottle of gin. 500 mils is a great size. You taste, move on to a different one. It's great.
Applewood's really good at doing that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Henry, thank you so much. And
Thank you, guys.
We'll jump back to you very
Isaac.
shortly.
Yes.
I'm on now.
Awesome.
I'm on now.
Time to time to roll in, I reckon,
Yes.
to the next gin. The next gin we're going for is the Ambleside Big Dry Gin. So the bottle looks a little bit like this. It's gorgeous. So if you've got your Ambleside Big Dry Gin there, throw a little bit in your glass, your 15 mils, your 30 mils, however much you want.
Let's go to Matt. There we go. Matty, how are you, mate?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good, man.
Everybody's probably pretty well lubricated by the time they've gotten to me, so we don't have to get into any technical talk at all, do we?
Harry throws the spank word. You throw the lubricated word. Unless you didn't say the word moist. My wife hates that word. Yes, the moist and lubricated are quite synonyms.
Matt, thank you so much for joining us.
No, thanks for having us.
Can you tell us a little bit about, first of all, your distillery, where you guys are, as we put a little bit of this in our notes?
Yeah, so Ambleside Distillers, located in the Adelaide Hills. So we're very much Adelaide Hills locals. We've been living up here for sort of 30 years. And when I say we, it's myself, mum and dad who own the distillery. I guess where the distillery started from was I was living in London in about 2014 and was having a pretty good time over there, but also got introduced to a lot of craft producers, whether that be the guys at Fever Tree, the guys at Sipsmith Gin, or brewers that are set up in the heart of London in tiny little breweries, but pumping out some really fantastic beer. So that whole enthusiasm with craft production was really what got me excited about also joining in and trying to produce some craft spirit in this case.
So for how long have you been distilling yourself?
So we've been open for nearly 3 years, and there was probably about a year of trial and error in mum and dad's laundry with a little 1 litre still before we sort of opened and went to the full scale still that you see behind me. But yeah, I sort of moved out of mum and dad's house into London and then managed to convince them to build a distillery in their backyard. So where I am at the moment is in mum and dad's backyard.
This is a really interesting gin, and the botanical profile of it I love, and having this on this tasting, and particularly at this point of the tasting, is really good.
Very traditional.
Because it's a big traditional dry style gin, but it's also got a little bit of a twist, and that spiciness that I'm getting. I know it's from the jalapenos that you put in. And so tell us a little bit about this particular gin in our glass. And obviously the jalapeno comes through a lot for me. I'm a big jalapeno fan. What else is going on in this glass, and why did you sort of go for this style of gin and with the botanicals you did?
So really, I guess going back to living in London, obviously that was a great grounding in terms of the spirits that they produce, and that London dry style being, sort of juniper forward, but having that element of citrus in it as well. So I wanted to create something that replicated that, but also bring it home to where we are. So, and Dirty Martinis are one of my all-time favorite classic cocktails. So also to have something that works really well with a dirty martini was what was the thinking behind creating this gin. So mouthfeel was really important. So we wanted to get some really beautiful oily botanicals through there, but also thinking about what works well with, a Sicilian olive and a bit of brine. So a jalapeno seemed like a really fantastic choice of an interesting botanical, as well as rosemary, thyme, sage. And the rosemary, thyme and sage we all actually grow here at the distillery as well. So, and then the jalapeno was really about creating a bit of warmth to it, also getting more oil content through, and that capsicum, lovely herbaceous, sort of refreshing note that cuts through some of those oils.
Does the capsicum come from the jalapeno?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt, this gin is, I'm loving it, because for me it's like I love a big juniper forward gin, and I think they've got junipers where gin started. That's what it's all about. But what is sensational about this is the way you've been able to create a big dry gin, but you use the jalapeno pepper, and it's got this awesome spicy backbone, and it's different. I haven't tasted anything too much like this. So we're going to put a little bit of ice in the glass, and then
definitely.
You should have your little dehydrated jalapeno pepper. So we dehydrated a few jalapenos ourselves. The little scraunchy things. They came in a separate parcel. So
they are very hot. If you want to taste them separate,
Jose and I are just eating these things all month because we love them. They came in like a little round circular. We couldn't put them in the other garnishes because then all the garnishes would taste like jalapeno, so we had to do them separately.
We didn't want to spice up the whole lot.
But I thought, why not with this big, beautiful dry gin with the juniper notes, put a little bit of juniper in there.
I love it. It even came with its own warning sticker, which is perfect. So.
Well, you have to be careful. You never know.
Oh yes, our liability insurance company just suggested the sticker.
Yeah, and maybe next time we'll have to put that one inside the other garnish packs. It's pretty hard to lose. Yeah. We're learning as we go as well, you know. And that garnish pack was just a little small at the bottom of the pack. We hope you found it before you threw out the rest of the cardboard. Tonic wise with this one, we've obviously got the Indian tonic, not the dry tonic, but the big dry one.
We got Claire to spank the jalapenos right now.
Claire spank the jalapenos?
She spanked the jalapenos.
Yeah.
You get up. That was spicy, I reckon.
Henry's taken his jalapenos and put them in a blender.
Henry would never spank a jalapeno.
Henry
hates spice.
Oh, that's true.
He would never
help myself the hard way.
He would never spank a jalapenos.
Trish, just quickly, please, I want to know about the Indian tonic in this gin. Big gin, big tonic, right?
And
can you hear me?
Yes. Now.
Just want to salute the Admiral. So now that we're in South Australia, and you might flick over quickly before we get to this incredible gin that I've just tasted, because I've got a lot to say about that. But we've got the Admiral here. So he actually runs the top gin bar in South Australia. So if you see Prohibition, that is Marcus, and he is the gin god for South Australia. So no wonder he is at the Prohibition Distillery right now, and he's full kitted out. So if you guys, when we do go to South Australia on our bus trip, everybody, we have to pay this man a visit. So, yeah.
Marcus, there we go, Marcus.
We'll spotlight you there, Marcus.
How are you, brother?
Absolutely.
Long time no see.
Aye, sailors. Welcome aboard. You're definitely going to come down. We'll look after you. I've been kissed already.
It was by Hugh, wasn't it? Kissed by Hugh.
That's one of the best.
Definitely Hugh.
Yeah, definitely Hugh.
That's one of the best, if not the best, whiskey and rum cigar lounge in Adelaide.
That is what we do.
That's
what we do.
Just
come down, have
good
fun.
time.
And gin as well. Don't forget he is the gin
Don't
god.
forget gin. Get load of that stuff.
Of course.
Haynes and Co. We'll check him out in SA, everybody. But thanks, Marcus. Good to see you. But back to this delightful gin, Ambleside. Oh my goodness, I love a bit of spice. And again, I really, really enjoy Mediterranean with this gin. And I have tried it with Mediterranean before. I really love the spiciness. I really love, it's almost like green, which is delightful. But I really respect the fact that there is so much juniper in it, that those botanicals, you know, they sit together harmoniously. So congratulations, Matt. I think you've done an incredible job there, because a lot of people add botanicals to gin, and if you can't discern the juniper, then for me, you're just lying to everybody. But Matt killed it. Good job. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Trish.
Amazing.
Trish, if we do our gin bus, you'll be the driver. You know that.
No, I'm at the back of the bus with the naughty kids. We've already established this.
I reckon Jose's the driver. I can see Jose driving.
I can't drive anything.
Trish on the mic. And
oh yeah.
No. We
It's like-
need, we need,
I would actually
we need a
put
driver.
Indian tonic with this one, guys.
Henry can be the driver.
Henry can live stream
Henry,
that
would you
on
be the driver?
Look,
Sorry, Matt,
I'll
can you carry
drive because I've driven with Jose before and I've never felt more afraid or more scared in my life. In fact, while I was in the passenger seat, Jose was like, oh, look at these pools and these houses over here. And I was like, look, just watch the road.
I remember that. That's when we went to the
Yes. That's when we went to the Polo.
Polo. The Polo. Oh
The
my
Polo.
God.
All right,
Yeah, and
thanks so
I drove
much.
home.
You're making us all jealous, but this is Matt's time to shine, excuse me. So we'll get
No,
back
that's
to
all right.
that.
Matt.
God, lucky you're all pretty, I swear to God. No, but Matt's right. So I try to with the Mediterranean first because that's obvious. But I also chose the same thing, Matt, the Indian tonic. And that is because, and I've already told you the Indian story, but it goes well with those juniper-driven, punchy gins. And this gin can absolutely stand up as a classic style with something more interesting going on. And I respect this gin a lot. And I think the Indian's great and it highlights, you know, and adds a little bit more to this gin, but it won't overshadow it either. And there's not a lot of Australian gins that can take punches of this heavyweight. And Matt, you've done an incredible job. Great. I love the spice. I love this. I think you're amazing. I can't wait to come and see your parents' backyard when I come visit South Australia next. We all do on our bus.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, from me, who's tried a lot of Australian gins, thank you for letting me taste the juniper.
No, you're welcome. Seriously, when I
Close up on the start.
No, they got
No, on the barrel, okay. I
Matt,
was saying that this gin and the Big Dry is sensational and it's awesome. What we, as we say, we like to ask this of everyone. What have you guys got planned in terms of? You've got another couple of really core range gins, which this one is, which are cracking. What are you guys working on? What's in the pipeline? What can we expect from Ambleside?
Yeah.
Well, we've actually been very busy this year planning our the expansion to our distillery. So the production area at the moment is pretty much in the kitchen where we serve all the food for the tasting bar. So we're going from about 25 square meters shared with the kitchen to 197 square meters of dedicated production space. So we've been very busy getting all the planning underway for all of that. But also in terms of products, we released a coffee liqueur last year, so for Christmas. So we'll be releasing the coffee liqueur again this year for Christmas. So get onto our mailing list. You'll get the first bite of the pie. But then also we'll have another limited release gin coming out, and then we should have another core range gin coming out probably January or February next year. So hopefully some exciting times coming.
Awesome.
what I see amazing on this gin, and I just keep on tasting, is like the first two gins that we tasted, they're not classic styles. They're absolutely sensational. This is a classic style with a little twist. Those are very different, which are amazing. It's what we all want. We want innovation. We want something. This is a very good thing that we put jalapenos in there the way it's done, and with a small twist. It's absolutely just an edge.
At this point of the tasting as well, before we all get too trolleyed, I just want to say that this gin tour that we've been doing has been absolutely incredible. It's been so amazing to show you gins like Matt's and go around, you know, Victoria, New South Wales,
support small producers.
Support small producers and show, you know, gin. A lot of these gins I actually hadn't tried before we jumped into these tastings, and I think it's been an amazing learning experience for me as well. So obviously we're going to keep it going. We're going to keep going, and we're going to Queensland.
Queensland is.
So Queensland is. I'm a Victorian. I've only been to Queensland a few times.
And we know South Australia does things right because they've done wine really well for a long time. They've done whiskey. Now they're nailing it at gin.
But Queensland has an incredible distilling scene that I didn't really know too much about. And when I looked into it a little bit more, we were spoiled for choice.
Why are you going to show me?
We've got some amazing gins in the Queensland gin tour after this one next month. we've got this Wishbone gin, which is the craziest packaging, the best packaging I've seen.
This is
for a
like
long time.
this is like buying a lubricant can.
So we've got that one. We've got a faux gin from Fortune and some guys, a gin that tastes like faux.
Yeah,
We've
faux
got-
gin.
We've got another gin from Wolf Lane, barrel aged, a lemon myrtle gin.
Queensland's gonna go nuts.
Queensland is going to be a very good.
Could be the underdog.
Oh, 100%. I think the underdog, if any. So those ones, plus we've got a Wild River, Wild Dragon, Modern Australian gin, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's a really good lineup. So Jose, I'll put the link in the description. If you're enjoying tonight, please to support.
Queensland's gonna go off.
Yeah.
I reckon it's gonna be the total. I'm prepared about these distilleries that are doing amazing stuff.
Probably haven't heard of a lot of them.
Yeah.
The gins, we've tried them all. Absolutely great.
And these are all small Australian distillers,
Yeah.
which is great.
So those ones, and then as far as the gins go tonight, if you like any of them, you can. There's a couple of them maybe available, as you might put in the chat, but especially the last two, and Ambleside's one that I'd encourage if you like this gin. This is a gin that's part of their core range.
Yep.
The first three we've tried aren't core range gins, so they're not readily available. But this Ambleside is. It's one that's always going to be part of their core range. So this is one that is always really good.
I'm going to just spotlight ourselves here just to show
the Wishbone gin.
the Wishbone. That is creative packaging, and that's part of what all these small distilleries like Prohibition's done, with innovation and packaging. What Never's done with innovation on using Grenache. Everyone is innovating.
It's innovation, and it's amazing to see. So Queensland will be fun, and the other gins there and available if you want them. It's going to be a really bloody good
awesome.
slot where it's part of that one.
Yeah.
But we're obviously not by any means at all done tonight. And can I just say, I've been having a look at the chat, Jose. Everyone's been talking about this gin tour, this gin bus, to the point where I don't think we can't not make it happen. I think this gin bus has got to happen. I think maybe we
haven't found a driver, John.
Well, we haven't found a driver. We haven't also found.
I reckon that we can at least his arm.
COVID immunization yet, so that'll be the
we're
first
going to
step.
probably shot,
and then we can all go on the gin tour, and we'll set it up for everyone. Because you guys have been awesome. One of the first things I'd love to do when
Trish could be the hostess with the microphone.
No, she wants to be up the back. And she just goes
at the back. You need to earn you need to earn the back seat. It's not like it's not just get into the bus. Never. You get into the bus and you go to the back seat. She's on it? You reckon?
I reckon Trish is better.
Okay.
A spot wherever she wants.
Maybe you could be the fever tree back seat.
The fever tree back seat.
And you're gonna earn your seat at the back.
Maybe you can get the exclusive tonics up the back.
Yes.
All right, so before we just ramble on into the night, which we're probably going to do, let's put the last gin, the most amazing dessert gin we have on our lineup, this beautiful maple gin from Barossa Distilling Co. in our glass. And let's throw to Pete his cock. So Pete should be there in the chat, Jose. Can you load that for me?
Everyone, we prepared for the most luscious experience.
Like pancakes.
This is great. Where are you guys? There you go. Spotlight. Pete, how are you, mate? As I was saying earlier today, what a beautiful amount of stainless steel you got and copper line behind you.
Just Gertrude doing her thing.
This is the best dessert beverage I've had in a long time. I absolutely love this. Tell us a little bit about this and your company and for how long you've been doing this.
Cool. So we'll kicking it back a gear and just kind of relax a bit more. We've jumped into Miss Maple. So being a gin distillery in the heart of wine country, we tend to want to turn things on their head a fair bit. And that's what we're trying to do with gin by bringing the world of Canadian maple syrup into Barossa gin. So just wanted to kick back, relax, make something, again, like I said, something
luxurious.
Yeah, luxurious.
That is sensational. Since Since when you guys started? Tell me.
2016 we started, April 2016, just after a very warm vintage here in Barossa.
Amazing. Just about 4 years.
Yep.
And let's say how many people you got there? You got a cellar door. Tell us, because most of these Victorians, they are just avid. Of course, there's other not Victorians, but we are avid to get out of Victoria right now. We've been locked in for a long time. Where are we going to visit you? You got a cellar door. Where are you going to sell us your gin? Where can we drink it?
So we're very lucky. We have a cellar door literally just a few k's up the road from where we are now. We got kicked out of there tonight because there wasn't enough tables for us to fit in there as well. But it's all going off up there tonight. But we're in the old Penfolds Distillery. So it dates back to the early 1916. And Penfolds were in that place distilling their brandy and making the spirit for their fortification. So we're very lucky to have been able to set up the bar in there. That's where we host our experiences. That's where we host people coming through looking to taste our products. We're a couple of k's down the road in the distillery, as you can see. We sort of outgrew what was going on up there, and we've now set up just a bit further down the road.
So this gin, this awesome maple gin, and you guys have, and I've tried a couple of your other ones, the Bud Burst, a couple of the other things that you've got going on.
Yeah.
This is one that I hadn't tried until we talked about doing this tasting. It's absolutely sensational. It's almost like pancakes to me, and I love it.
I would pour it in pancakes. I would pour it everywhere.
What was the and actually for I might say while we're talking about it, for everyone at home, obviously we've got 4 tonics, we've got 4 garnishes. We always normally pick one gin at the end, which we wouldn't necessarily ourselves put with a tonic or whack a garnish in, and that's this one. But in saying that, this is a gin that if you want to extend out, and this is up to you guys at home, a bit of ice actually probably wouldn't go astray. I think this is a sort of thing that a bit of ice is lovely with. And if you want to play around with the tonics, I'd probably gravitate towards the Mediterranean. So if you're thinking that it's a bit much for you, Nate, chuck a little bit of the Mediterranean tonic and ice in there. But chucking back to the guys from Barossa Distilling Co., tell us about this maple gin and how you came about this idea and what the thought process behind it was.
So the gin base used in it is Generations, which is kind of our core gin where everything started. For me, I first came across it back in 2016 while I was working at Applewood. I was very lucky enough to be a part of that awesomeness back in the day for a little while. The first time I tried that one, I just turned around to Carter and just went like, what have you done? You've just put the Barossa in a glass. Like, to me, it smelt like driving down through the guts of the valley floor on a summer's day with the window down. So carrying that through, we've got, all right, cool. How do we kick it up a gear and how do we turn it on its head? Again, playing around in the skunk works out the back. The maple syrup came into play. We were right. Let's see what happens if we put these together. Part of the thought train was sparkling Shiraz and the Barossas known as Barossa Barocca. We wanted the gin-based equivalent. We wanted that Barossa breakfast gin, and that's what we reckon we've got.
And absolutely, it's amazing. And what you guys are doing is beautiful. You guys as well, you've been doing some amazing stuff in the period of time you've been going. And I think this Australian gin boom, we're seeing some really big distilleries.
And this is also one of those products that changes people's minds. We were talking innovation, right? It doesn't need to be a gin as you think about. This is very.
It's new. It's different. It's fun. It's unusual.
Correct.
So from you guys at the Barossa Distilling Co., you guys have a plethora of amazing stuff around you in terms of the ecology of the amazing grapes that you have liberty to, but also, everything else in terms of the flora and fauna perspective. What can we expect from you guys moving forward? Do you guys have any plans for some new stuff that might catch people's eye?
Yeah, what can you tell us? What's new coming?
We like secrets.
Yeah.
How much time have you got?
We have a few secrets. It's been experimentation central here for the last few months, but yes.
Yeah, we've locked and loaded a lot of secrets.
Oops.
Woo, the boy!
That's a boy.
Exploding gin, that's on our list.
Exploding gin. That one, whiskey pancakes you probably don't want to eat.
We're jumping along and going a bit old school to Barossa and bringing brandy back. So we've got a few of them hiding away. There's a few other little things. Being the Barossa, we're always having a barrel of laughs. So there's always a few little barrel projects going along. And then we're doing something, again, following that wine angle and more or less starting with some kind of serious sub-regional Barossa focused products where we are starting from the ground up with those ones.
We're very lucky here to have contracts with a number of wineries, and there's some incredible barrels just tucked away in people's cellars. And I think accessing those barrels, they're able to impart some incredible flavors to some of these spirits. And I think those barrels is something that you're going to see running across a number of our products. We were delighted with our barrel-aged gin to take Gin of the Year at the London Spirits Competition this year. And I think building on that, we're going to have some incredible whiskey coming out very, very soon, and, you know, again, that's Barossa barrels. It's imparted, it's probably 60% of the flavor into that. I think brandy will be following, but I think there's a lot more experimentation to be done with some of these Barossa barrels and some grape grain and
a few little grape projects on the side as well.
Yeah.
And again, no shortage of grape.
But it's incredible, and that barrel-aged gin, I haven't tried any myself. I hope to get my hands on some. But before we leave you guys, could I get a little bit of an idea of, I'm a lover of stills. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Sure,
I don't know a lot about the distilling side, but you've got your beautiful still behind you there. Can you talk us through your still? What makes it unique? Where you got it from?
So, I mean, this still will be familiar to some of those eagle-eyed watchers there tonight. You'll see something very similar down at Prohibition there. They've got a slightly bit larger version. They're very lucky down there to have a bigger version of this. But yeah, look, this is a copper stainless steel. We've got the gin basket in the middle. We utilize that as much as we can to impart some incredible botanical flavors that keep that really bright note coming through in the final gin, particularly with citrus. In regards to some of the other spirits we're doing, you know, it's just a very versatile still. It enables us to produce all kinds of things very easily, and it really does a fantastic job.
Yeah, it's such a good looking thing. And to you guys, and this is another gin that I understand is part of your core range, is that right?
Yes.
The Miss Maple. Yes, that's just been introduced into the core range. That
I think that this is one of those gins that if you're thinking whether I should get a gin or not, if I had this in my cupboard, I can think of about 10 different meals or things that I could use this gin with. Put it over pancakes, have it with breakfast, you know.
And probably if you're entertaining, this would be the most surprising thing you can get to your guests.
Absolutely.
I got a gin. I'm not a gin person, and you pour
really
this in it.
Oh,
hello.
Please, Isaac.
Yes.
And just quickly, were you saying aromatic tonic is fun to play around with it?
Yeah, if you really want to just kind of mess with people, drop a little bit of aromatic in there. It brings out this crazy little fruit tingle, life flavor. Just awesome.
Hello. That's taking me back to grade 9. I go down to the corner shop. Fruit tingles. Love it.
Love this. Awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for getting involved in tonight, to the both of you. I'm so excited to see what you guys have going on. And I think it's, you know, the awesome gins that you guys are putting out and the environment you have around you and everything you're doing is so bloody tech that I think that what's going to come from you guys in the future is going to be super exciting. And I hope to see you in many of our tastings like this. And
I just want to, just one thing before everyone, I want to show here the bottle spotlight. And if anyone gets a bottle,
that's the store, Jose.
That's the store. Yeah, sorry. There we go. No, stop here. There we go. Spotlight myself. If you get the bottle, you will see these crystals. Tell us about the touch rates.
A little bit of residue.
Residue. This is because it's very natural.
Yes, yeah. So this is like A-grade Canadian maple syrup that we basically import ourselves. Yeah, we get that shipped straight across.
And that's sugar crystallizing in the maple syrup.
So technically, this is not an imperfection. This is what you get from being totally unfiltered and pure, and just being as natural as you can, right?
Yes, 100%, 100%. I mean, we don't want to mess with this, like our Shiraz gin, we don't want to mess with that either. It goes in there unfiltered, absolutely pure. Let the ingredients stand out as they're meant to.
Great. I love tap rates on bottles. Love tap rates and ladies on bottles.
It's
I
good.
love.
It's good to see.
Mint beans is pure.
Jose will whack the link in there.
Yes.
And grab a bottle you can. And also all of their amazing other products. Head over to Prohibition Distilling Co. There's a couple that we're going to stock here at Casa de Vinos and probably have open. But for those of you who haven't, obviously we can't do too much traveling at the moment, but if you ever do have the opportunity to come down here, I've got about 140 bottles of gin that are open, which you can come and try. That's the way we roll down here. That's sort of our thing. So by all means, when things open back up, come in and I can show you a few gins. And I think I've got a couple of Barosas open at the moment and a few really, really cool other ones as well. But in terms of tonight, I guess that sort of brings us to the end of the official sort of proceedings, but we've all got a few gins still in front of us, probably, or a little bit left in our glasses. I know I do.
You got a ticket for the after party?
Ticket for the after party, yeah. I mean, that's
the $300 one. No.
I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's tuned in tonight. And we're going to spend another sort of 15 minutes chat for those who want to hang around, going to the distilleries and saying good day.
If anyone has any questions,
put them in the chat and put them in the chat as we get to them. We're going to Queensland after this week. We're going to keep this going. In Victoria, it's looking sort of imminent that we're probably going to be at least for another couple of weeks in this sort of situation where we can't go back to bars as normal. And when things do open back up, and I've got my fingers crossed that it happens sooner rather than later, but when it does, it might be a little bit slower. So we're going to keep on doing this, and it's been a fun way to be able to connect and try these awesome gins. So there's no reason we're going to stop. Queensland's the next stop, and it's a bloody good one. Some of the gins we've got there absolutely romp my mind for creativity and innovation. It's really exciting.
Jonah,
yes,
this might remind you something.
What's going to happen after the tasting?
We got in 3 weeks a sparkling and champagne tasting.
Yeah. So if you brought it home again, particularly for the Victorians, we're going to be doing a sparkling and champagne tasting.
We got
I'll link that in the chat.
We got cocktails, sparkling, champagne, but also next week, in 2 weeks, we got a cocktail tasting. Henry has done a cocktail for us.
Henry has
bagged a cocktail for us.
Last time I said Henry's bagged one for us.
Henry made some bags.
This is the cocktail tasting we've got coming up.
You've really got to stop saying Henry made some bags.
We're looking forward to that. Up to both of you. Let's go back to everybody who's been involved tonight and say thank you. Can I say a big thank you?
Good, Henry.
We got it's going to be a mixed bag from who we've got the whole team there.
The whole team of Prohibition. Boys,
thank you so much.
You got what's going on? This like people distilling, just the customers. How are you, mate?
Hello. Yes, we have. We've got Mary the still running here. If you move his awesome self out of the way,
we've just done tails cards.
We've got customers exploring what it's all about. We've got tails happening. We're just
made it alive.
This is like every night at the distillery. We have these wonderful ladies that hang around to watch us finish distilling. But that's the life of a distiller. We don't create it. We just live it. But no, Friday night at the distillery, there's always a bit of action happening. We're on the tails cut of our Navy Strength Gin, as we mentioned. Look, hey, it's been a great night. We've tasted some amazing stuff. Congratulations to everyone for making some incredible stuff out of this state. We are the gin state of Australia, after all. But look, we've enjoyed it, and we look forward to more of these events. There's definitely we've got plenty to share.
Thank you so much for being involved and having this gin tonight is an absolute treat because we know how limited it was and how special it is and how much effort you put into making it. So thank you bloody hell of a lot. And when the Christmas comes out, please join us so we can do this all again. We want to taste this Christmas.
I want that bottle very bad. I want it. Yes.
Everyone wants that one.
Who's next, Jono?
Next, we're going to go back to Sean, and we have to be quiet because
He's the children sleep, but yeah, Sean. No.
I got my burger is literally like 2 minutes away. I can't wait. There you go. Look at that. It's on the street.
What do you have?
Oh, I'm gonna go some Nordburger. He's gonna go down the street on a Friday night. Friday night in the back.
That's what I'm talking about. Send one of those my way.
Oh, I'll tell you what, six standard drinks. I'm drinking Southern Strengths, which I have to give a shout out to, winning back to back recently in Australia's Gin Awards on Monday. So look, I haven't had a chance to drink aggressively all week, and it's going to happen right now. So yeah, it's fun.
You deserve it, Sean. And what you guys are doing is innovative, sensational. You guys are playing an awesome part in this big Australian gin boom we've got going on, and we can't wait to work with you and to taste all of your gins more.
What I love of these guys is that they're young guys that been having a go and they're doing well, which is great. And that's the Australian spirit on small distillers, like, amazing. Sean, big kudos to you. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having us. And again, thank you for taking the time. I can't imagine how long it would have taken you to put all of this shit into bottles. And I appreciate the effort. I can see there's over 200 people on here.
A lot of favorite sweet and tears and phone calls.
You can ask my girlfriend. I haven't been home much.
Been packing. You still have a girlfriend? Bloody hell. You're lucky.
Yeah, right. Sean, thank you so much, my man. It's been an absolute
pleasure.
The hammer?
We can't wait to doing it. The big hammerhead.
I'm getting my burger.
There we go. Oh, bus driver.
Oh, dear me. Yeah, bus driver. Here we are. Yes. Two tickets, please. Sorry, mate?
I love you to tears.
He loves you to tears.
You love me to tears. I love you to tears.
I got an accent,
I'm just going to cut in before Henry and Jose talk about driving a bus down to the Polo or the Peninsula for too long. You guys, you can have a chat after and tell your little anecdote. And it's amazing. I understand you guys have a beautiful relationship and I can't wait to hear all about it. But Henry, can I just say, thank you so much for being a part of tonight and for everything you've done in terms of the live streams and everything you've been doing for not just the Melbourne hospo scene, but the Australian hospo scene during lockdown. It's been awesome.
Mate, dude, thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it. Someone did say before that you are out of Fingerline Gin on your website. You do have 12 more bottles, just to let you know.
Oh, 12 more bottles.
You've got 12 more bottles. I held on to 12 more for you.
That would have been very handy.
Good information to have. So
there you go. Just letting you know.
That's not how you spell Jose. He's logging into the back end and he's going to put a few more in.
He's going to put a few more on there. But thank you. A huge thank you to everyone who attended tonight. It's so fantastic to have such a great community of people out there who are so interested in gin and so interested in everything that we're doing. Like it's awesome. And especially during this very isolating time, it's so lovely to have that just on a personal note. So thank you. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys for organizing this night as well. Jose and Jono, you guys are an absolute force to be reckoned with. I fucking love it. Thank you.
I just added 12 more bottles into our stock.
You just added 12
Thank
more
you,
bottles.
Henry.
Where did you get those from?
Thank you.
Mate, I held them aside. I told you about this 2 weeks ago.
Told who about this? Told me. This wasn't during our Navy strength tasting, huh?
It might have been. I might have said it at the end.
Let me just go here and get here spotlight. Henry made some bags for us. That's Henry's cocktails, which I can say this is tasty as you can get. In 2 weeks, we got a little cocktail tasting. Henry's done a very special cocktail for us.
Mixed with applewood.
Yes.
It's very good. Henry, thank you so much, my man. Over to Ambleside Matt, are you still there, my man?
Ambleside, there's Matt. We spotlight him.
Matt's on the pikes.
Me myself. Cheers, everyone. Yeah, thank you very much, boys, for organising this. It's been a pretty fun evening. So here's to a few more.
Absolutely, my man. And we're so excited. We're in love with this gin and the jalapeno. Jose and I love jalapeno, so it's so good to be able to try this one. And we can't wait to come visit you on the bus tour and come and try all the amazing stuff.
Where was my invite for tonight, Adam? I must have lost it in the mail or something. You guys are all partying at Prohibition.
Yeah. No. Nick, trust me, when we do the bus, you'll be our first call.
Yeah.
You'll
be the first call, man.
You'll be the first call. Yes. There.
Get them on the bus and get them up here. That's what I always say.
Get them on the bus and get them up here.
Yeah.
I go to Barossa Distilling.
The boys at Barossa. There we go.
Guys, I've still got a bit of maple here. Thank you so much for joining and being a part of tonight. We hope you enjoyed it. I bloody enjoyed trying this beer.
It was great, guys. Thank you so much. Well done on organising that. That wasn't an easy task. Really good fun night. Thank you.
We've had a great time.
Guys.
Oh, that's a. And what you said, it was thank you for organizing, and it's not an easy task. You guys in South Australia maybe a little bit far away from what Victoria's going through. And I must say, John, let me just change to our own camera. As John and I, we've been working retail for the last few weeks. Yes, the middle one. Lockdown is not being easy. Lockdown has not been easy for Victorians on the last few weeks. We found that customers sometimes because we are the only kind of store open from supermarkets or grocery stores, we might be the only contact, or many Victorians that just come in to buy a bottle of wine. So I thank everyone for the interaction today. Everyone, literally,
it's been really good to be able to bring this, all around Australia. This has been a fun way to be able to try some gins. This was born in COVID as a way to bring, but it's become something more. And in Victoria, where we're all sort of getting through it in our own way, and we're going to come out of this, and we'll still do these amazing things where we join each other. And we've got Queensland. It's been great.
That's going to be great.
The fact that we've been able to bring everyone together and do this thing. Trish, I would love to thank so much, because without Trish, we wouldn't really be able to do this. Trish is
the tonic and gin goddess of Australia.
Enzyme, and she's a massive support. So Trish, thank you so much. How have you found tonight?
Thank you so much. That was so exciting for me. I know that these gins were all so fierce in a range, and all these distillers made great gins already, but we tried some of their wild and wacky numbers tonight, and that made me really excited. I don't know about you. I mean, what a time. So many flavors, and they're all so different and unique. I mean, I feel like I've just eaten like a 5-course degustation. I'm like,
and what a time to support Australian producers, right?
Of course, and well deserved. And everyone on here tonight really does care about their craft. They work so hard. And well done, everyone. And thank you so much for joining. It's so good to see so many familiar faces and support of local brands. I appreciate that so much. I can't wait for the gin bus, but we've been talking about that all night. So
gin bus and the Queensland tasting. It's been so good, and we're so excited to keep it.
I'm ready to have the gin bus and the Fever Tree backseat.
Fever Tree backseat. Jose might.
That's a VIP.
Jose's going to be on the Fever Tree backseat, I reckon. Can you barrel it for me, please, Jose?
Yes. Okay, there we go.
So as we come to the end of the night, here we are. It's actually run a little bit over time, but I don't think anyone really minds. I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone who's been involved, to everyone from Prohibition, to Sean from Never Never, Henry from Apple for sharing such amazing knowledge with us, from Ambleside, Matt Dickinson. We love it, and we can't wait to see what you're doing. Everyone at Barossa, for getting involved there.
Thanks for supporting these small distillers. Thanks for supporting us
And
Yeah,
in grabbing
yeah.
this packs and being a part of it, it's so awesome. We're able to. There are no bars open in Victoria, so you can imagine how sales the distillery is struggling a lot, especially in Victoria, because no one's going out and drinking. So this is a way of sort of means to an end while we can keep stuff rolling and we can educate and have a little bit of fun with each other during these times, and we hope that's what we're doing. So big thank you to everyone that's been involved, and we hope to see you all in Queensland. And Jose, I think it's the toast before we go. So if everyone can raise their glasses, and we'll say the Casadino's toast, and that is
Salud.
salud. Some ships are wooden ships, and those ships might sink, but the best ships are friendships, and to those ships we drink.
Oh,
Salud. We'll all see you in Queensland. Thank
see you
very
guys in
much.
Queensland.
It's been an absolute blast. I've had so much fun. I can't wait. I want to go to Queensland now, Jose.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Let's go to Queensland. Quickly, let's go to Queensland.
Let's go.